So hi, everyone. This is Desiree Meyer with the Desiree Meyer Realty Group, and I am here today with you to bring you some exciting information. I connected with my credit guy at a conference recently, and I wanted to bring it to you guys live. That didn't happen, I'm sorry. But we're on now, and I'm going to give you a little intro. So a little about the company that is with us today. My Credit Guy is owned by a husband and wife team, Sam and Trisha Parker. They have over 20 years of credit repair experience and started their own company, My Credit Guy, almost 9 years ago. MCG for short is the go-to resource in the mortgage and real estate industry for credit repair. Their process is built to help the clients get back to the closing table as soon as possible. In an industry where there is nothing but bad reputations, My Credit Guy prides themselves on doing credit repair the right way and by following all the guidelines and laws. With us today is Jesse Brent, My Credit Guy's National Sales Manager. He primarily works with partners to educate them on the process and to help their clients connect to the My Credit Guy team. He has a wealth of credit knowledge and spends every day helping their partners with credit challenged clients. So let's say hello to Jesse. Yay.
Hi, Desiree. Yeah, so I spend most of my time working with referral partners like you, real estate agents or loan officers, to just define the process of how we help as many people as possible that are applying for a home loan that can't necessarily get across the finish line because of credit. So I do work with clients directly at times, just giving feedback and consultations on credit, but for the most part, I'm working with business professionals like you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I am glad that we got together to do this. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that probably need the service. And right now, where real estate is kind of funky, I tell people, maybe you weren't prepared to buy a house just yet or package. Maybe something popped up on your credit that you need to get erased. Let's get those scores up. Let's get you packaged. So possibly as soon as possible, you'd be ready to buy without these, roadblocks.
Yeah,
I might call
absolutely. Yeah, we right now we're seeing that like over 25% of the people that are applying for credit fall below like a 600 score threshold, and there's a lot of confusion a lot of times because folks are using like Credit Karma app or Credit Sesame or whatever the case is. They're using it to track credit, and those credit scores are different than the credit scores that are used for the lending side of things for a mortgage, right? So there's a lot of confusion there. So for anybody that's not in a situation today, from a credit standpoint, to be prepared to buy a house, that doesn't necessarily mean that in short order they can't be, right? And usually for us, just giving that good sound direction, that's always helpful.
So when you say that's not the same, are you saying those companies are different from what you guys do?
Well, no. So right now, it's a good question, right? There's a lot of confusion in what credit scores are. So right now, if you were to use a consumer app like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame, what you're doing is you're actually looking at a consumer credit score that's built on what they call a Vantage 3.0 scoring model. That's not the same model that's used to assess scores for a mortgage, right? So you're looking at a consumer app that tells you have a 700 credit score, but when a loan officer pulls your credit for a mortgage, it could be a lot less, sometimes 50, 60, even 100 points difference. So there's confusion. It's just a difference in products of what people are using to access their credit.
Okay. I was kind of thinking the credit bureaus were different than what people are looking at and what you guys are looking at.
Well, sometimes, right? There's, the credit bureaus are the ones that house the details and the data of the trade lines, right? And so Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax are the three. And there are sometimes there's a variance in information that they have, but for the most part, the biggest difference that we see is an understanding from a client on what their score is versus what their score truly is for a mortgage when a loan officer pulls it. That's where there's a lot of confusion.
Okay. So the past week I put my fillers out there to clients and to friends, family, and I ask them questions to give me questions that they'd be interested in finding out. So I have questions for you.
All right, fire away.
It says, can you provide detail about specific steps you take to improve a client's credit score?
So I would say the most specific step that we take is to address negative items from the past, right? So if somebody has had challenges with credit in the past, collections, charge-offs, late pays, things like that, we're taking steps to either consult on the direction of what they need to do to improve those, or we're sending disputes as it relates to inaccuracies. And then a lot of times we're working with our debt resolution team to resolve that debt in the appropriate way, whether it be a settlement or a pay for deletion. But those things are really the only true opportunities for you to improve credit on anything that's negative. I think that's probably the most common thing that we work with is collections and charge-offs.
And then how do you customize your approach to meet the unique of each client's needs?
Yeah, so for us, one of the things that makes us very unique as a credit repair company is that our focus is home ownership, right? And so, as I mentioned before, there's different scoring models, or let's call them grading systems. That's probably the easiest way to understand it, right? And they're graded in a different way, right? So when you go to buy a car, your credit score is going to be different than when you buy a house, or if you apply for a credit card. Those are all different scoring models. So for us, what makes us unique is that we understand the mortgage scoring models really, really well. And so for clients specifically, we understand not only how to fix credit, but how to prep a file really well so that when it comes time for you to apply for a mortgage, that your credit is set up in a situation where you're actually going to get through and get funded with the loan. So I would say that's what makes us most unique. And that's how we customize our approach at helping people fix credit.
Can you explain the process for disputing inaccuracies on a credit report?
Yes. So our standard process is that we have an entire dispute team, right? So we have a team of people where they review a credit file and they identify, through an interview with the client on what's happening with those particular negative items. If there's truly an inaccuracy, then we can dispute that at the bureau level. We can dispute that with the actual creditor that has it on file. There's a number of approaches that we can take. But really what we're going to want to do is dig down into understanding the story behind what happened, right? So an example of an inaccuracy that is rampant right now is identity theft, right? So we're running into a lot of situations where somebody will pull credit, they haven't paid their credit in a while, and all of a sudden they're looking at accounts that are not theirs that they've never opened. So it tends to be a little bit of a tedious process. That's why it's like so helpful to have us involved. But we'll usually like file a police report it to the creditor, and then dispute that at the bureau level to get that inaccuracy removed. And the thing that you have to remember is that your credit score is built on data and information that's tracked by these three bureaus. And if you know anything about data, there's always inaccuracy with huge bundles of data, right? So it's not uncommon for somebody to look at their credit report and say, this isn't mine, or this didn't happen this way, right? So a lot of different variances there. And so what we'll do is we'll dispute specifically, again, with either the creditor or at the bureau level, and expect for them to open an investigation to find out the truth. And it's usually very helpful for us if we have good documentation to support that.
Jesse, once through that process, how soon can clients or customers see
The change, yeah.
On their credit score?
Excuse me. Yeah, so best case scenario, right? So like our hands are tied a lot of times to like getting somebody else to update something, right? So best case scenario is in that situation, a dispute's going to take 30 to 35 days for us to get a response on it. And in that time, the investigation could result in that it's been found that it's inaccurate and it can be removed from credit in that short of a timeline.
Okay, so are there any guarantees or assurances regarding the success of the credit restoration services?
Yeah, so this is another way that my credit guy is unique, is that when you come into our program and we identify what it is that you need to do and where your credit score needs to be in order for you to go back and get ready for closing a home loan, we're going to give you an estimate, like a time frame, right? Average customer for us is 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 months, with the work that we need to do. And we guarantee those turn times, right? Like if you follow through with what we're telling you to do in that time, and you're not where you're where we intended to be from a credit score standpoint for whatever reason, we'll pay for your service, right? And so if that means that you went, we estimated 5 months and you went 6, well, you get a free month of service or something along those lines. But we always do what we can to make it right with the customer. We've set out to make sure that we're putting people in a situation where they can trust credit repair and us through credit repair, because for the most part, it's just not really an industry where there's a lot of companies out there that have been proven to be trustworthy.
I think a lot of people are hesitant. When I was mentioning this, they were like, we've done that in the past and we've gotten, taken advantage of or what have you. And I really felt that after speaking with you briefly and then speaking with Ashley, got a lot of details. I really felt like, okay, this is a reputable company. You guys have been around for a while. Yeah, so I really thought, okay, let me bring this forward to my clients.
Yeah, it's something I battle every day, right? Like in the space, there's a lot of, the largest credit repair organization just got sued for $2.7 billion, right?
Wow.
For deceptive practices, right? So there's definitely a negative connotation in the industry that we have to break often.
How do you guys communicate with the client throughout the process?
This is a great question. This is also another way that we're unique, right? Every time somebody signs up for credit repair, they get assigned to a one-on-one credit coach, like a real person who's going to be their coach throughout the entire time that they're with us. And that client will have access to, whether it's Marsha or Sarah or Jenny or any of these people that are on our team, right? Like they will have direct access to them via email, text message, phone call, and they're going to set up standard reviews every single month. So if you know that Marsha's your credit coach, you're going to see her in your portal. You're going to have access to her scheduling link. You're going to have access to text her questions on things that come through, right? It's if it's Melanie, same thing, right? Direct access to her. Whoever it is that is on our team that is their credit coach, they can communicate with them whatever way is most convenient for them. Some people like to communicate mostly through email. Some people like phone calls, right? But all of those are options.
That's refreshing. I for one, with this all the technology changing and stuff, every time you go to call customer service or you try to reach somebody, you can't reach anybody. And I think that one-on-one is a big deal. It's a big plus.
Yeah, I would say that I absolutely support that, because when we're fixing credit, we're problem solving, right? So good communication is really key.
Do you offer any educational resources or guidance to help the clients maintain the good credit habit?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've identified a whole client journey of the time that they're with us that is supported by credit education material related to our understanding of the FICO scoring model, right? Just general good financial practices, how to improve credit, how to keep it strong for a long time, and all of those resources through video and also just general documents, including an ebook that we've built for kids, really, right, to educate the next generation, is all available to our customers and to our partners for no additional cost.
That's nice. You guys should probably sell this to the schools.
What's funny is we actually have some referral partners that are loan officers or real estate agents that have taken that credit ebook for kids and done like a learning session and workshop at local high schools as it relates to credit. And that's just their example of like giving back to the community. And they've used that as a resource to be the kind of the guiding, curriculum for credit.
Oh, that's very cool. What fees are associated with the services and how are they structured?
Yeah, so I love to talk to the money side about the money side, because what's often overlooked is that if you invest in improving your credit, it will be a return tenfold, maybe even more, 100-fold, over time, right? Like having good credit allows for you to spend less over time on anything that you're borrowing for, right? And so for us, our standard fees, we've got 2 packages, right? So I'll kind of break that down. The first one, there's no upfront fees, no setup fees. It's actually illegal for in federal law for a credit repair company to charge upfront fees. But on day 30, so our program for a whole month.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Say that again really loud so everybody can hear that. Because a lot of people put money up front.
Yeah.
And they never see the people.
Yeah, yeah, it's illegal. It's federal law for a credit repair company. They are not supposed to charge upfront fees, initial fees, setup fees, nothing, right? And so for us, we don't bill anything at all until the 30th day of service, right? So that's after you've already connected with your credit coach, you've had a welcome call, you've got a game plan. You're probably going to see improvement on the disputes that we've sent in the first round, right? That whole package is no cost to you until we hit the 30th day, which is right around when we'll be circling back to do a full review of what happened that first month. Now, the charge for the first month is $325. And then every month after that, it's just $100 a month every 30 days from that point, right? So day 30, 60, 90, 120, as long as you want to stay with us. There's no time commitment. But again, 325 month one at the end of the month, right? At the end of your 30 days, and then $100 a month from there. Now, for some people, their budget's a little tight, right? So they want to split that 325 up. And we have what's called our budget plan, which is $175 a month for the first 3 months, right? So day 30, 60, 90, 175. And then on month 4, you just go into your maintenance fees, which is $100 a month.
That is like a few nights out for dinner and
Yeah,
maybe a coffee for the month.
Yeah, anymore. That's maybe a couple tanks of gas, right? So we believe it's inexpensive. We believe it's a good value. We know it's a good value, right? Because if you're in our program for 4 to 6 months and you spend a few $100s over the course of that time to fix your credit, not only is it going to put you in a situation where you're going to be able to get approved for a home loan, but it's going to save you money in all other areas of your life going forward.
Very affordable. What is a normal time frame that somebody works with your company?
Great question as well, right?
When they cut those ties.
Yeah, so for us, the majority of the clients that we work with usually need a 50 to 60 point swing to get in a spot where they're approved for, the 620 or 640 range on a mortgage score. And those customers are usually going to take us anywhere from 3 to 5 months to complete that process.
That's not bad. So get going on it now, guys.
Yeah, as soon as you get going, the sooner you'll be ready, that's for sure.
Last question. Once someone has completed the credit cleanup, what steps do they take to start building their credit back up? And are there ways that your company will help them?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So like you can continue to get all the credit education material even after. So here's really the answer to the question, right? Like during the time that you're with us and you're working with your credit coach, you're going to learn the staples and the fundamentals of how not only to fix your credit, but to keep it super healthy. Right. And so those standards that you learn should be, right, standards that you're follow through with just in how you use credit cards and manage your finances in the future, so that this will never be a problem in the end. I mean, that's ultimately our goal, that we're going to change behaviors, understanding and educate people. But the standards would be that you have at least 2 credit cards open, you're maintaining a balance that's less than 30%. You're never missing a payment, right? I don't care if it's even just the smallest account. One late payment is a huge negative on your credit score, right? So even with like credit cards, it's super important to have like auto pay set up, right? So even if it's for the minimum balance, right? Even if it's just $25 a month, as long as that payment gets made, you'll avoid a 30-day late pay. And again, those are just simple things that could make a huge impact in the future. So things like that would be what I would say is all just good education for the future after we fix it, right? Like you've got it good, keep it good.
That's the tough. Well, I guess that's it. I've gotten all these questions answered and I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and include all your information along with this video so people can reach out to you. I'm also going to include a link that Ashley has sent me so people can sign up under me.
Yeah, so the link that will be available is essentially just a quick overview of our business, right? It'll talk a little bit about who we are. And then if you fill out your information, you can get a free credit review, right? So that's where we start, and we'll look at your credit. We'll talk with you about how we can help. And I would say for anybody that's not really in the best situation and understanding their credit, they're trying to buy a house, I would say I'd get all over that, right? If you fill out that information, we're going to know that you're a part of Desiree's group. right? We're gonna keep her up to date with what's happening, and we can give you an overview of how we can help. And I would say that it's totally free. I mean, it's the invest time, right, and your attention to be involved just to get a better understanding of what's happening. Now, if we find out that we can help you, and we think it's a good idea for you to move forward with our program, we'll talk at that point about what those pricing options look like and how much time you need to spend with us. But I would say definitely take that first step to get a review.
I also want to encourage the other lenders and mortgage companies to also reach out to you or me, so that they can get this going for their clients also.
Absolutely.
Good information. Thank you so
Desiree.
much for your time.
You bet.
I'm sure we'll be working better.
I think so too.
But that's it. And I just want to say thank you.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Desiree.
All righty. Take care.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye.